I'd like to call this meeting to order. This meeting of the Town of Auburn School Committee is being conducted both in person and remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12, 2020, and extended through March 31st, 2023. For the public to join the meeting remotely through Zoom, please use the link posted on the agenda of the town's website. The governor's order, along with all supporting materials that have been provided to members of this body, are available on the town's website. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda. Please note that this meeting is being recorded by the Auburn Cable Television. Accordingly, all members of this meeting who will participate, please be aware that other people may be able to see you, and please take care not to share screen your computer. Anything that you broadcast may be captured by the recording. Thank you. Now can we rise for the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The vision of the Auburn Public Schools is to educate and prepare students for the opportunities and challenges of a changing world. Our commitment: we will create, maintain, and support an environment that fosters a sense of belonging for all students in our schools without regard for race, color, sex, religion, national origin, sexual orientation, gender identity, homelessness, poverty, spoken language, and ability. Do we have any citizens' comments tonight? Seeing none. Special recognitions?
We do have a special recognition tonight. We will not be having our spotlight on students tonight, given our budget agenda this evening. But I would like to take a moment to congratulate Hayden Plum, 12th grade at Auburn High School, Neil Grosvenor, 12th grade as well, and Arlo Johnson, 11th grade, for successfully auditioning for the Central District Chorus. They will represent AHS and other top musicians from Central Mass in a festival concert at Mechanics Hall on January 14th, 2023. And from what I understand, it's a really big honor to be chosen for that group, so we're proud of them.
Awesome, great job. I'm seeking approval for the minutes from November 9th, 2022.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from 11/9/2022.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
We do have Ally, student representatives report. Hey, Ally.
Hi everyone. So this week we're wrapping up the trimester with finals Thursday and Friday. So last week was a nice end to the trimester with Thanksgiving, and we had our Thanksgiving assembly Thursday where we did our annual class lip sync battle. So all of the classes got together like a group to choreograph a routine, and then we had like a whole big event where each class performed their lip sync, and it was just a overall like very fun assembly where a lot of people could get involved. And now this week we have finals both Thursday and Friday. So 3 blocks have classes for finals on Thursday, and then 2 classes have finals on Friday. And also with the trimester wrapping up, we're transitioning into winter sports. So all of the fall sports just finished up with playoffs and everything, and now we have basketball and hockey and also track that started this Monday and will continue on for the rest of the winter season. We also recently had a unified assembly, I believe it was 2 Thursdays ago, where the unified basketball team played a game for everyone, and it was just a great inclusive event, and it just showed the importance of the unified sports in our school. And we also, it's a tough time for seniors with college applications wrapping up. The last early action deadline is tomorrow for December 1st, so all the first round of college applications are finishing up, so I know lots of seniors have been working hard at that and will continue to do so for those who are applying graduate position or looking at workforce or other career possibilities. So that's about it right now. It's been a nice end to the trimester, and then next week we'll start with classes.
Great. Sounds like very busy time over at that high school. Any comments? All right.
The assembly was great. I don't know why the faculty didn't win.
All right, thank you, Ally. Great as usual. Superintendent's report.
Thanks, Ally.
Thank you, Ally.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Co-Chair. We are we don't have a spotlight on students this evening, given that we'll be moving on to budget presentations.
Excellent. Unfinished business?
And there we are, the FY '24 budget presentation. So welcome, everyone. Tonight, well, first of all, I would like to say, for those of you joining us on Zoom, we have had some glitches in the past. So if for some reason the meeting were to end unexpectedly, please just sign back in using the same login. But we hope we've corrected the glitch so that that doesn't happen. So tonight, building administrators, along with district administrators, fine arts and athletics, will present the budget for this evening. And I am proud to do this as my first round as superintendent, starting at the beginning. And I would be remiss if I didn't begin by just saying thank you to a few folks. I'd like to start with the leadership team that is here, seated with us this evening. It is a very amazing group of educators that are here tonight. I can't, our work that we do every day is sometimes challenging, oftentimes very rewarding, but we can't do it alone. And I couldn't be more proud to be doing it with the group of folks that are seated here tonight that you'll all hear from. So I just want to thank them for their work and their support of putting this budget together. I also want to take a moment to thank the committee for the support that you've given me through my transition, and the support you provide to the district with all of the support that you give us for materials and positions and all of that. But most importantly, just our commitment to kids. So thank you for that. And as well, right, we can't leave out the wonderful teaching and professional staff we have, the support staff, our nurses, our secretaries, our custodians, our food service staff, because I believe that altogether we make Auburn a great place to work and to learn. So I'm excited to be here and to be here tonight with you. So we'll share the specifics of the 2023-2024 budget draft. The focus is looking forward. While the disruptions and challenges of COVID-19 are not completely gone, we are now ready to look forward with optimism and with hope. I'll highlight some initiatives that we used to inform the creation of this budget, while also presenting items for consideration to the committee. Then each leadership team member will present their areas of focus and their given department for the coming year, along with just the changes to their budget items from FY23 to 24. We begin the presentation with We Are Auburn, our mission, vision, and core values. We've seen these many years, and it's a guiding principle, guiding banners that hold us together as we move forward through each school year. And I think it says a lot that we have stuck by these for as long as we have, and we will continue to do so. You read our commitment, which again has become part of our agenda, part of our talking points, part of our strategic plan, and a really important one, I think, where we believe that everyone should belong. School committee priorities for FY24. I'm gonna have to get out my pen. I can't see that far, sorry. I have to get out my
Me
copy.
either. That's okay.
Let me just switch back. So this budget continues to reflect many of the tenets of the strategic plan adopted back in 2018. It's been integrated with recommendations from the equity audit. It reflects our commitment to ensuring that all students feel a sense of belonging in our schools and that they're safe. And we remain committed to the academic achievement while also keeping in mind their social and emotional well-being. I'm not going to go through all of this, but these are the categories as they stand with the draft strategic plan, which I hope very soon we'll have wrapped up and have a final draft for you. Currently, these are our categories. Of course, we're focused on teaching and learning, health, wellness, and safety in all aspects for our students and our staff. And we remain committed to the community partnerships we have. Auburn has been a community like no other in the support of our schools and what they add to the education we can offer to our students. So considerations before you as we begin to go through this draft document. We have maintained our staffing levels to meet the class size recommendation from the school committee at 25 or less at the elementary and appropriate size at the middle and high, and also staffing levels to meet the needs of special education students. The October 1st enrollment numbers were used throughout this process. School-based materials and supplies have been nearly level funded for all school buildings, so you'll see just one or two areas where they changed. The only new positions you will see are reflected are based on student need. One special education teacher and an ABA for a substantially separate classroom at Swanson Road. And continued emphasis on the social, emotional well-being of our students. Instructional assistants and ABA techs have been noted in their current assignments, although that changes every year based on where students are located and where our needs are. We've worked to maintain a robust nursing corps, including we've already enhanced the lead nurse position, which is working very successfully. We have level funded grant monies using the FY23 amounts for the 240 grant, Title I grant, Title IIA. Those are grants that we get every year, although we don't always know the specific amount that we'll be receiving. We've protected the Medicaid reimbursement predicted it to be at about $125,000 as adjusted at the fall town meeting, while also using any carryover funds. Do you need to minimize that? I can stop for a minute.
Sorry.
Oh, you don't.
Do you want to?
I think we'll give it a shot. Get out of that. Right. You wanna
Sorry for the pause, folks. Give us 1 minute.
So that, now you should be sharing it to Zoom so they can see it. And then we just want to.
We're on the slide that starts with instructional assistance. Oh, there we go. You gotta go back a little bit. There we go. Thank you, Eric. Again, those folks have been noted in their current assignments. We have a robust nursing corps. We're keeping the entitlement grants, which are our 240, Title I, Title IIA, at about where they were last year. We never know exactly what we're going to get for those grant monies, but they typically tend to stay roughly at about the same amount. Projected Medicaid reimbursement to $125,000. Special ed circuit breaker, again conservatively at 70% for budgeting purposes, and the busing registration fees will be utilized to provide $145,000 in offsets. We continue to try to maximize the use of offsets from our revolving accounts. Revolving accounts include building rentals, satellite and Galaxy accounts, as well as preschool and athletic. We continue to participate in school choice. Currently, we have 76 filled seats. Previously approved at school committee, I believe was 89. We had a number of students for a variety of reasons who have moved on. So something that we continue to look at to see if we can bring some folks in. I'm just not sure enrollment will allow that. We've budgeted for 11 regular education school buses, much as we have this year, assuming that we'll have about as many students riding next year as we do now. This was one that we've discussed several times. We're anticipating a 14% increase in special education private school tuitions for students in out-of-district placements. This was determined by the Operational Services Division of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Executive Office for Administration and Finance. And when I tell you that there is quite an uproar around this increase, it was completely unexpected, completely uncalculated for, and completely out of line with probably the last 10 years of increases that stood around between 2 and 3%. And so when I tell you that superintendents across the Commonwealth I did as well, writing to their legislators, and there's a lot of work being done to see if they're talking about now that potentially there may be they call it a pothole fund, right? They call it for everything that, those unexpected things. Hoping that they can provide districts with some relief around that through a pothole fund, but we just heard from the commissioner this week that it's not going to change. So the only change may be that they provide us with some additional funding to offset that increase. So that's more to come on that. Increases in electricity, fuel, and contracted services are being seen across the country, and certainly here in Auburn. Some of those increases are reflected here as well. We don't yet have oil pricing. They're currently working with the French River Collaborative, as we do each year, to see what we can get on pricing for that. We do have an electricity contract that's been negotiated with the town, as we've seen a 30% increase in electricity costs. If you recall from the fall special town meeting, the town did give us approximately $102,000 to offset the increase in electricity costs. We continue to use our solar credits from the arrays, rooftop arrays at the middle school and high school along with those from the Rutland project. Projected offsets totaling $3,737,040 are utilized in this budget, which includes a $501,442 in ESSER funds. That again, that's a one-time source of funding that will dry up in the fall of '24. Does anyone have any questions at this point regarding any of those considerations?
Through the chair, we have an excellent special ed department, so we don't have, any child that can be serviced in the school district is serviced in the school district, so.
Yeah, we're finding that, and I don't think this is a surprise to anyone, but the social, emotional, and mental health needs of students are troubling, to say the least. So if we had students previously who may have struggled with mental health issues in our buildings, the pandemic didn't help that.
No.
And so now, coming back to what seems to be normal, right, with a loss of learning, a loss of all that contact and the socialization, it's really exacerbated it. And again, Auburn is not alone in this. When I talk to other superintendents, this is being seen across the state. So we are trying very hard. We're looking at some creative ways at Swiss that we can make sure that we're kind of catching some kids early, and maybe that can move on to the middle school, but that could be a year or two off. But, yeah, it's very difficult for some kids and some families right now. Okay, all right, so we're going to move on to the presentations by all of our folks here this evening. This is the order of the presentations, and we will begin with Mr. Keller, the Assistant Superintendent.
Good evening, everyone. So we've got a couple things that I want to touch on first in terms of the areas of focus and expectations that we're looking forward to for next year, and that's, you'll find that reflected in the budget as we go through. So the first is creating and sustaining professional development that supports and assesses implementation of K through 5 Wonders ELA program update. So the Wonders program that we use was adopted in 2017 and was selected by a curriculum committee. It's a strong program. Since that time, however, evaluations of instructional materials, there's been organizations such as EdReports, and here in Massachusetts, Curate is a group of educators that come together to look at curricular materials. And so these are very valuable organizations that provide a lot of information to us. Previously, we were essentially relying upon publishers to tell us that their own product was good and meeting standards. And so although Wonders is a great product, the 2017 product is only partially meeting expectations in 4 strands. And so with the contract being up with Wonders, we feel like it's time to revisit that program. And so the Wonders 2020 product meets expectations in both Curate and EdReports. And so there's also a 2023 product as well that we're looking at that hasn't been evaluated yet. And so we've been having ongoing conversations with the publisher. I've been meeting with teachers along with the principals to talk about this program. And so so that's a big goal. Adopting and going through a new curriculum is a major undertaking, as I'm sure you know. And so that's one of the big goals for next year. In addition, so the second goal on here is implementing curriculum review and a revision process, ensuring currency, equity, and alignment. So looking horizontally to make sure that we have a range of topics and themes in our curriculum as well as vertically, and meeting with principals and teachers. These are areas that we want to make sure that we're building upon the previous year and identifying gaps and overlaps in our curriculum. And differentiating to meet all the learners, all the needs of all of our learners. So we've been doing a lot of work, as I think you know, with Universal Design by Learning that lends itself to that. And so we want to begin looking deeply at our curriculum in that regard. One of the areas that we've talked a lot about, that I've talked a lot about in my early going, is around writing and assessing our pre-K through 12 writing practices, ensuring consistency within and between grade levels. And these are conversations I've had at the elementary level, at the middle school level, and at the high school level. We have, as I think you all know, we have remarkable teachers here at Auburn, and I see it on a regular basis. and the work that they're doing can only be enhanced by making sure that we're building off of each other. It's similar to the previous point about that vertical articulation, but if we're all using the same language as teachers, it makes the job of a student much easier. So we're using the same language, we're using similar graphic organizers and building from year to year, as opposed to each teacher coming up with their own strategies around writing. The other piece of that writing piece is a district-wide commitment, so it shouldn't just be the task of the ELA teacher on writing, and so making sure that we're all committed to making sure that students are writing on a regular basis. The next goal around curriculum and instruction, teaching and learning, is around establishing district-level student learning team to drive instructional decisions. At the building level, a lot of work is done by educators and administrators in looking at data. They're examining multitudes of data, and we need to make sure that we're doing that at the district level as well, as we have a unique perspective on our schools and on our district. And so using the knowledge that we gain to make informed decisions at the pre-K through 12 level, as well as setting the course for inquiry and all other teams in the district. Expanding the reach of Universal Design for Learning, our UDL efforts. So we are going to be entering year 3 next year. I mentioned UDL a moment ago. In year 1, 100% of our staff received introductory training in UDL. In this current year, which is year 2, 20% of our staff is engaged in this initial implementation phase, and then next year, the goal is to have 50% of our educators involved in intensive UDL professional development, so that we begin to push past that 50% and really have full implementation. And so that's continuing next year, focusing on self-assessment and a tiered service grid. And lastly, in terms of areas of focus for next year for my office, it's expanding and aligning the district's work on diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. So we began some work with Anti-Defamation League this year. We're going to continue that, expanding on that work through engaging students with the goal of having students at the middle school and the high school trained as peer leaders, working with students. And then establishing a district-based equity team that will actively engage students, staff, and parents. And then also we've begun working with Safe Schools to ensure a safe and inclusive space for all students through partnering with the Safe Schools organization. Dr. Chamberlain and I have been attending workshops with the Racial Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Group in Massachusetts. The acronym there is READY. And so we will be beginning self-assessments focusing on our current circumstances as well as practices and approaches related to equity improvement. So those are the areas of focus for next year. In terms of the dollars and cents, which is why we're here, right? You'll notice that there is a decrease next year from the current year, $140,000 in district-wide textbooks to $100,000 for next year. And we were able to take advantage of grants in order to make up that difference. So we've looked at, along with Dr. Chamberlain and Cecilia, looking at areas where we can utilize grants to make up that difference.
Excellent.
Questions on my budget? All right. With that, I'll turn things over to Mr. Walton, Director of Pupil Services.
Thank you. Good night, everyone, and thank you for having us.
Thank you.
So I guess I'll start with looking forward to 2024. First line is continue to create specialized and comprehensive new programming for students with multiple disabilities at Swanson Road and AMS, and eventually at the high school. What we're finding is an increase in students with multiple disabilities that don't fit the mold of sub-separate classrooms or co-taught classrooms or inclusion. This year was the first year we started a language-based classroom at Swanson Road, and it's turned out to be a hit. Students in that program are making significant progress, but we're finding that other students that we didn't expect to be in that program are benefiting from the program. So we want to look at AMS because those students will be going to AMS soon, and at some point at the high school. We'd like to continue to expand and enhance the Encore program to reach students with similar profiles in other districts. This past year, I was at a meeting with the Department of Developmental Services and found out we're one of the first programs in the state that they've heard of that has a program like Encore. So I would like to tap into that, and maybe we can tuition some kids in, or maybe we can share some ideas with other districts and start to send our kids around instead of sending them out of district if we have to. The next two bullets kind of go hand in hand, But I think this is one of my goals this year, is to continue to provide parents and community members with guidance and support in and outside of the school, as well as training. I've been in the district for 5 years, and I find that parents, they look to the schools for help. And then what do? We turn around and we give them advice or send them to someone else out of district. So I would like to be able to reach out to the parents, community members, and help them to find the supports that they need. And, maybe they don't have to come to the schools for support. We will support them, but I feel that students truly need support outside of school. Next bullet is to strengthen and provide support for students with social and emotional disabilities at a younger age. We're finding, I think Dr. Chamberlain spoke a little bit about this, but we're finding students with social emotional disabilities, is increasing across the district. My hope is if we can stop this, help parents with this at a younger age, and students give them the services that they need at a younger age. When they get to the high school level, we're not seeing students acting out or being sent out of district. So again, to keep the kids within district. Lastly, is to provide staff with ongoing training on topics of de-escalation, mental health, and social emotional disabilities. I feel like the teachers in our buildings, should have the tools and techniques such as social workers have. Instead of sending students out of class or sending them down to the office, to the guidance counselors, that they feel confident that they could deal with some of these issues within the classroom. I know that they're not going to be able to handle all the issues, but they have some tricks, to help in the classroom. Changes to budget line items. So the first one is health services supplies. This past year, we've seen an increase in costs when it comes to health supplies, but we also wanted our nurses to be able to order all the supplies that they needed prior to starting the school year, and then they had the I won't say money, but they're able to order the supplies throughout the school year when they need it. The next 3 budget items that increased were sped in-town transportation, non-public transportation, and tuition to non-public schools. And Dr. Chamberlain talked about this, but this is the anticipation of the 14% increase from the OSD. And the last one is tuition for SPED collaboratives. And it's to the increase in social emotional disabilities that we're seeing in the district, and it's a couple of students being outplaced. As far as new positions, we're looking for a Swiss intensive needs special education teacher at Swanson Road, and the ABA to start a sub-separate classroom at Swanson Road. And Dr. Lopez will speak a little bit about that. Any questions?
Can you explain the language-based classroom and the difference between that and the sub-separate classroom a little bit?
So the language-based classroom is again, more language, but everything's broken down to the student's ability, and the disabilities that you see in that classroom, they're able to participate in academics and also go in a general ed classroom, versus sub-separate is more one-on-one. So they're doing a lot of group work in there. You'll go in there at one point at any time of the day, and you can see 3 different group lessons going on, because they're all at different levels. But the main focus is the language. The teacher that's in there, though, she has a behavior background, and the classroom is just very well structured to the point, when you walk in, all the kids are having fun and they're all learning at the same time.
Great. Okay, thank you.
Any questions?
No, good.
Thank you. Next up is the Director of Facilities, Joe Fahey.
It's a 14% increase. But see this.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you, Mr. Walton. Thank you for letting me present my facility budget for next year. First thing on the dockets there is I'm going to talk about a couple CIP projects that we're doing next year. We got delayed at some buildings last year, so this year we plan on doing the parking lot expansion and resurfacing at Bryn Mawr School. We also plan on completing the electrical service upgrade at Bryn Mawr School and the sprinkler project as well. And lastly, we plan on doing removing the oil tank over at the Swanson Road Intermediate School and replacing that with propane and converting the burners to propane. So an exciting projects, exciting summer is going to be happening. Now, changes to the line items. everything's increased. So,
Thanks for the pre-warning.
but unless you've been living underneath a rock, you wouldn't know this. And I can go over these line items by line items, but you'll see a moderate increase in each one of our lines as the economy faces us. So if you have any questions regarding that, if something sticks out, please let me know. But I get 2 slides that are pretty much the same thing.
But the pictures are positive.
And that is not me. It is not.
I should have photoshopped a picture on there.
Oh, my God. So as you can see, moderate increases.
Yeah.
This one here, you'll see on the district-wide building security, we see a decrease. I mean, we're trying to save money everywhere we can, but I don't want you to think that we're taking anything away from our building security. What we hope to do is, through Dr. Chamberlain, we've already been doing a lot of research. We had an audit done by the Homeland Security in our Auburn safety team regarding some upgrades. I really don't want to share all those with you, but it's positive, and we're looking to go to the town for some funding for that. So we figured, why should we keep the $30,000 in it when technically we're going to get support from the town to make that happen? So that was the reason for that. And then you'll see a slight increase for HVAC supplies, district-wide controls, and the last one, we just don't have one truck. We have 2 very popular minibuses, Rocket 1, famous Rocket 1, and Rocket 2. And they're starting to get a couple years behind them, so they require some service. We're not hiring anybody, so if anybody does have any questions, I turn it over to Mr. Bouvier, our technology director. No, thank you. I did 4 slides.
Do you find that there would be a benefit for moving from oil to propane?
Yes.
Like future long run?
Yeah. And one of the reasons why we're going that route is because we have an oil tank that's been underground.
Okay.
And propane obviously is much safer than a leaky propane tank underground is better than a leaky oil tank underground.
Okay.
So that was the rationality for that. And there is a savings between the oil and the propane, even though BTU-wise, oil is a little bit higher. Oil actually has about 140 BTUs per therm compared to propane, which has about 100. But the rate, we locked in at a rate for the next 2 years at about $1.93 a gallon for propane.
Wow.
So it's pretty good.
Pretty good. And you have to dig up that oil tank?
I don't.
I want to see you out there doing it.
Yeah. We did one probably about 6 years ago at Packagug, and it's pretty exciting to watch. They come in, they dig the top off, they strap it, and they crane it, and they lift it up, and they put it on a truck and drive it away.
Yeah.
So it'll be an exciting project.
Is the tank at Swiss underneath the pavement, or no?
Yes.
It is? Okay.
Yeah, it's underground. And also this tank that we'll be replacing it with will also be underground too. So,
Question.
okay. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joe.
Fix that pavement, too. That's what I was getting at with that.
Hi, good evening. Thanks for having us. First of all, on behalf of my entire tech team, I'd like to continue to express my thanks for everything that the entire Auburn community has done for technology in Auburn. We have an amazing program with a lot to be proud of. Our infrastructure is top-notch. It runs this entire district from the classroom technology to facility services, security cameras, telephones, everything that plugs in and turns on nowadays runs on our network, and that's able to be done because we've invested in it wisely, and we've received the funds we've needed to do that over time. So that's wonderful. We have more than enough devices to provide all of our students and staff with iPads and laptops that they need to get their jobs done effectively and efficiently, and in both a safe and secure manner. We're very proud of that. When COVID hit, we were well prepared for going remote, when many districts were scrambling to buy laptops and buy iPads and wait for shipping to show up with kids at home with no devices. But Auburn was prepared because we were investing in it all along. And we have ample technology so that our teachers can teach and students can learn. And you can see that in all of our schools. When you walk through the halls, there are kids in classrooms and in the halls and in all spaces with iPads and devices, learning and working on projects. It is pretty much an amazing place to be able to do technology on a day-to-day. The budget, as you see, works to pretty much continue that. There's a little bit of a focus on infrastructure. The need to replace the network switches, or some of the network switches at Auburn High School, is becoming a real issue for us. Those switches that remain are original to the high school. I believe, Mr. Fay, 17 years the high school now? 17 years. So that equipment, the main switch that runs our entire district is a 17-year-old piece of equipment. We've gotten every dollar out of it we needed to. It's still functioning, but we don't want to have to replace it after it has stopped functioning. So we have a few things like that we need to get to, along with replacing wireless access points at both the middle and the high school. Wireless is a critical service for us in district. A lot of things can be down in this place, but when the internet and the wireless is down, that's when my phone rings off the hook. When the security cameras are down, nobody calls. Michelle. Right? When the wireless is down, we hear about it. So we've replaced the networking equipment for wireless at all of our buildings except the high school in the middle, and that's only because they had the newest stuff when we started this process. So it's time for them. All of those projects get done through a program called E-Rate, which is a federally funded program that provides 50% reimbursement to districts for hardware. So you all pay for that as part of your phone and cable TV bills. There's a little universal service fund fee that gets paid, and that comes back to us when we have to purchase some of these infrastructure pieces of equipment. We're going to continue to support student data privacy across our network. It's very important to us that we understand where student data is going and who has access to it and where it's getting shared. Everyone loves free internet programs, but that data can go everywhere. And you know, because you get spam and emails and phone calls and all kinds of things. As a result of that, we work to make sure that our students' data is not getting shared to places that it shouldn't get shared to. We do the best that we can. It can't be perfect. There are certain things that we have to use. I mean, we're Auburn, but we can't tell Google what to do. But we do the best we can with it. We'll continue to support instruction with safe and appropriate software and applications, and that's for all of our students. We spend where we need to spend, and we support alternative programs for students with some special needs, and we're making sure that we have accessible technology and equitable technology for all of our students. So that when you look at the actual increase in the line, and I know it is a significant increase, but unfortunately nowadays, all of our that line is the entirety of our software for the district. So everything that is a software or an application that gets purchased comes through that line. Everything nowadays is not a one-time purchase. Everything is an annual fee. It's a subscription-based service, so that means every year the price goes up. It's impossible to cut that line without removing services. But it's also some new services that we had to implement because we needed them. We have a program called iReady, which we have put in place, which was a direct result of the possibility of learning loss due to COVID. So it's both a diagnostic and a prescriptive learning environment for K through 5 students in reading and math to help them recover some of the missed opportunities from working remotely. We have new software in there for online student registration, which has been wonderful for both. We've done it for kindergarten for a while, and it was part of our initial 3-year contract with Power School that we didn't have to pay for it, but now we do. But all of our new enrollments and soon all of our returning students will go through this enrollment process where this was all had to be done manually. It was all papers that had to have been, all those sheets that you filled out every year with your new contacts and all of that. Somebody had to go through that and enter it into the system. We don't have to do that anymore. It's all automated. We're saving our secretaries and our administrative staff time doing it. So that's all terrific. And then finally, we continue to invest in assistive technology and assistive technology programs and apps. And those, we can't foresee what a student is going to need to meet their particular learning objectives. So those numbers continue to increase, but they're necessary. And when you see them in use, they're worth every dollar. So we have no new positions this year. We have a good team, and they do a good job. So if you have any questions.
Thank you, Eric.
Oh, no problem.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I wanted to bring forth what I'm looking forward to doing in 2024 at the central administration and across the district. I'm working with leadership and grant writers to utilize the allocation of our grants to supplement targeted educational needs. We meet Cheryl Moran, who is our grants manager and coordinator. Myself and the grants writers meet on a monthly basis, and we discuss where the grants are headed, how we're spending the money, how we need to maybe potentially, there's times that we have to maybe amend a grant if we have some ways that we want to modify some things, but we're always trying to look to the best interest of our students and provide for them in the best possible way. I'm going to continue to coordinate with the facility director, Joseph Fahey, and technology director, Eric Bouvier, on the utilization of capital improvement funds. We have our capital budgets each year, and we're given money, and we're charted with, spending the money and effectively handling the projects. Like Joe mentioned, 3 of the projects that we'll be completing this summer. Those are all things that happen. We also have CIP monies which provide for the iPads, as well as equipment and technology purchases for the buildings. So that's, we meet regularly, like probably once a month to go over those and make sure that everything's on target. Working jointly with our food service director, Janice King, who to ensure the continued fiscal stability of the school lunch program. Auburn has been very lucky that we have a great program, and we've been financially stable. And we do a great job. Janice does a good job with her staff and workers. And we've been able to be fiscally stable, and we want to continue that. So, I know there's been a lot of questioning of things about this year where everyone's receiving free lunch. There's discussion about whether that will continue for next year. So that'll be another thing to look to. But we've been very good at keeping things going during COVID, and that's been a good thing. Continue to collaborate with our transportation vendor, AA, our school resource officer, Officer O'Brien, and our crossing guard staff. I have open communication lines with them. AA, it could be many times in a week. I usually see our school resource officer at least maybe once a week through the building and discussing things. And the crossing guard staff know that they can call me at any time. So we that's a good communication. Continue to work in conjunction with the payroll, accounts payable, and central office staff to promote streamlining of systems and procedures to achieve more efficient and productive workflows. Under the direction and help with from Dr. Chamberlain this year, we've been all meeting as a group, the central office staff, and we're looking at ways to make things better, to maybe take some old things that we've been doing for years and years because we've always done it that way and try to change them and make them better for everybody. And it's been great. I've been working with Mandy Williams, Kelly Ackley, Caitlin O'Neill, Cheryl Moran, Colby Cabral, and the rest of the administrative team in central office to work on those things and make things better. So even we've been working on a busing too as well. So those are all things that we do regularly. Collaborating with town departments to continue to ensure that all financial and personal transactions are completed in a timely manner. Working with CFO Casanovitz, who will soon be our town manager, as well as their departments, and trying to make sure that we stay in line with everything that we're supposed to be doing with our budget and anything new that's coming down the line. So as far as changes to line items, mine are pretty basic as far as things that are going to go up. Legal services, we've seen an increase in our fees. That's across the board everywhere. Teacher salary retirement is up a little bit from last year, only because we're planning for the upcoming retirements of many long-term staff members. So we need to make sure we have money to take care of those people when they leave our district.
Crossing guards, we tried to go up. We have a really great team of crossing guards, and they're very reliable. They work hard. It's hard to get crossing guards, so we've tried, to get, and once we get somebody who is good, we're very fortunate because they stay with us and we're happy to have them. So there was a little bit of an increase to their salary to try to bring them up to a good level so that they would come and make the effort, but they're a great group of people. Transportation for regular education buses. As Dr. Chamberlain said, we're going with the 11 buses again next year, but we have seen a substantial increase. We're going to be heading into, we've had 3 years on this contract, we're heading into a 4th year. Over the other 3 years, we saw like a 3% increase. This year, we're going to see a 6% increase. So that's a little bit higher than we've seen, but I have been in discussion with AA Transportation, so I'm looking at that to see what we can do. But they've been a good vendor and a good partner with us, so we're really happy to be working with them. And then school committee dues, just a minor increase, and part of that is just that our school committee members are attending the MASC conference, and their membership dues have increased, and so those are basically that. We have no new positions in central office to put forward, but I'd be happy to answer any of your questions if you have any. Okay. Seeing none, I will turn it over to Miss Bailey. Ginny?
Hi, can everybody hear me all right?
Can we move that mic down? Is it coming out of the computer? 1 second, Ginny. Try it again.
Is my audio working?
Better now.
That's better. Go ahead, Ginny. Is she not
Hi,
here?
is this all right?
Yeah.
Yes.
See if at the computer, if she can hear you.
You're all set, Ginny.
Are we muted?
Can we send,
No, we're not muted.
can we send her a
I can
chat
chatter, yeah.
and tell her we can hear her?
Oh, I can't say.
I'm currently sitting in traffic on the Mass Pike as I'm going to go sing with the Boston Pops right now. So, as always, we appreciate your support of the Fine Arts program. Most of what we are trying to do next year is just continue to rebuild and just keep more students involved with music. There are 2 small increases. One is to the music repair line so that we can continue to clean the instruments for safe COVID protocols, the school-owned instruments, new mouthpieces, etc. And we are continuing to try to expand the string offerings into the middle school. So those are the 2 areas that we've addressed as areas of priority for fine arts.
I don't know, can she hear, Ginny, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Good. Okay, thank you. Does anyone have any questions for Ginny?
No.
All right, well, do well tonight.
Yes, good luck.
Good luck.
Break a leg. Now you're supposed to say.
Thank you so much. We appreciate your support.
Thank you.
Last time I touched this, we had all kinds of issues. Forgive me.
I'm going to jump in just for a moment. I don't know if folks know, but we are in the process of interviewing for a new athletic director. Mr. Davis will be leaving us in early January, and thus Mr. DeLongchamp reporting out for the athletic department this evening.
Sure. So, thank you for having me. And I'm really sorry about my voice again. A couple things. Our athletic program continues to be extremely successful. And I don't necessarily measure it by like wins and losses, championship banners, but the overall experience it provides our kids. This past fall, we had roughly 250 students out of 740 participating in fall athletics. To me, that's a tremendous group of students. Now, you don't have to be an athlete to be successful at Auburn High School, but it's nice that athletics is a connection piece for our kids.
You know, there were things that are highlights. We just came off of the Thanksgiving Day football game. I think we had 1,500 people there supporting us, which I thought was just tremendous. But, you know, at the same time, a few weeks prior, just to see this whole team here at the unified teachers versus the students basketball game, absolutely, truly tremendous. And it truly signifies what we are in Auburn. So, you know, again, you know, I can talk a little bit about some of the bullet points. You know, anywhere we can to increase sportsmanship and leadership with our students, we're really trying. You know, it's an experience because we want our kids, high school athletes, most of them aren't gonna go on and play in college. Certainly professionally, those are really, really reaches and stretches. But sports and being participants in sports helps you become a better team player. It helps you learn to work with groups. It helps maybe you push through some uncomfortable times. So, you know, again, you know, we're trying to find creative ways within our teams, not just to like push win, 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 but to the whole athlete instead, and the student athlete more importantly. I have an incredible group of students who are continually pushing me to investigate volleyball. You know, so not only do we have these 250 students in the fall, they want to have like 30 more that want to participate in something. So we're trying to figure out even creative ways, even to try to come up with something. We have one of our teachers has been volunteering like 1 or 2 nights a week and opening the gym to take on a group. And we probably had roughly like 25 to 35 students that have been participating up until winter sports just started. So I know that there's interest. It's just figuring out like how to make the dollars and cents work. Maintaining the participation levels of our athletic programs, and knowing what the fall was like, we had like almost 100 students try out for basketball. Wow. You know, and if you know, a basketball team, maybe 12 makes it. And we have 5 different teams, 3 boys teams and 2 girls teams at the high school level. And then Mr. Desto's has got 2 teams at the middle school level. So that's just a tremendous amount of interest. But we're also seeing that in the track and indoor track teams too, where we have upwards of like almost 60 students that will actually make the track team. And then we have our cheer and our hockey programs. So they're also thriving. Increased partnership with our Booster Club. I've met with them several times, and as recently as yesterday, they want to figure out ways to help and support Auburn schools, and it's a wonderful group of people. So anybody interested in wanting to participate is always welcome too. The more the merrier. Then lastly, you know, when we educate our coaches, sports have become so specific, and it's not as simple as it was maybe 15 or 20 years ago. You might like the sport, but now you have to know all the intricate details. I could never go, I look at Megan, I could never go teach swim. It just wouldn't happen. I couldn't do it. I couldn't, you know, you want to find people that actually have a knowledge base, and providing them opportunities. MIA provides all kinds of opportunities, and then getting our coaches to these experiences is super beneficial. As far as the changes to line items, you'll see minor changes and increase, and it's the same. Things have gone up. I know you see the last one where you see that big jump, and I know that stands out. Yeah. Well, to give you an idea, we had 21 freshmen participate in our football program this year. Mr. Desto has some kind of legendary team of 8th graders that are going to be joining us next year, and there's 24 of them. Wow. And football helmets are really expensive. They're all, you know, intricate because they have to protect from concussion. At the same time, the lifespan of a football helmet is 10 years. As you can tell, I know way too much about football helmets right now. Way too much. So, you know, after 10 years, they age out. You can't use them anymore. They might look good on the outside, but they're not good in the integrity on the inside. So, you know, we have to provide the proper equipment for our athletes. A pair of shoulder pads is ridiculous, the amount of money that it costs. But a helmet can cost anywhere between $300 and $450. And so in finding them is even harder. So I think that's why you see that big increase right there, because some of this equipment is just more money. So no new positions at this time. So everything is what we have this past year. Do you guys have any questions for me?
I do have a question. When it comes to a new athletic director, are we aware of where we stand within other districts? And if we're going to compete at like more of the state level as we are at this point, are we in line with them with regards to salary?
I think so. I've been working hand in hand with Dr. Chamberlain.
Okay.
And I think we're more than equitable and fair. And we're just trying to find the right person, right? We don't want to just, I mean, Mr. Davis has done a great job with our program. We want to continue and grow the program. So, if, finding that right person just takes a little bit of time. But I don't think that's not our problem.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing. So I
We
think
just want to make sure we can compete with other districts in the area as well and get the best candidate for us as
Sure.
well.
I absolutely 100% agree with you. So, any other questions from an athletic standpoint?
My question was regarding the equipment, but you answered it.
No, that stands right out.
Because my eyes went,
It's kind of hard. It's not like fuel. Although Mr. Fahey made extracting an oil tank sound exciting to me. I don't know about that, so.
Although I do find it interesting, I did not know that football helmets only last 10 years. It's like a car seat. It only lasts a certain amount of time, and then you have to get a new one.
Yeah.
And in 10 years, think about the technology over the last 5 years
Yeah.
of what's gone into a football
Yeah.
helmet.
And that's most significant. We need to protect the kids, so.
Yes, yes.
Really?
The
We could do training
recertified,
on it later.
the recertification, painting, it's a tremendous process with uniform upkeep,
Wow.
so. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
thank you.
So, I'm going to introduce Ms. Stanek, principal at the Packagug Schools.
Good evening, everyone. It is wonderful to be here with you this evening and share the Packagug vision for the future. Thank you for all of your support to truly make excellent in education a reality at Packagug and throughout the Auburn Public Schools. I am so proud of the perseverance, collaboration, and resiliency shown by the students and staff at PAC. None of this would be possible without the relationships we build with our students, each other, and our community, along with all of you. As you know, Packagug is referred to as PAC with our lion mascot, Dakota. The PAC Pride is a home for education where kindness, inclusion, and equity are at the forefront of our work with our students. As Dr. James Comer has stated, no significant learning can occur without a significant relationship. To this end, we will be utilizing relationship mapping to ensure each and every student feels welcomed and has a trusted adult that they can count on at Packagug. Alan Keller has introduced the leadership team to this practice, and together with Mrs. Beverly, I will continue to create a systematic approach to ensure the social, emotional well-being of each and every student. Our commitment to inclusive practices continues with the implementation of Universal Design for Learning. We will provide ongoing professional development with our trainers and our very own coaches. Our continued collaboration with our Bryn Mawr colleagues affords us opportunities for discussion, planning, and sharing of best practices. We look forward to upgrading our current Wonders curriculum to ensure all students receive a high-quality literacy program that is up to date and aligned to the Massachusetts curriculum standards. Technology is a vital component in our world today, and most of our children are very adept at it when they enter kindergarten. Therefore, we need to continue to expand the use of iReady, our research-based program, to support student learning. iReady gives an individualized path in the areas of literacy and math in order to meet individual student needs. I believe wholeheartedly in the African proverb, it takes a village to raise a child, and we continue to lean on our families, community partners to support our efforts. We are thrilled to have families entering, visiting, and volunteering again at our school. Our after-school clubs and in-person events at PAC provide diverse opportunities to support a well-balanced education. Together with my colleagues, I will continue to fine-tune our transitions for students and families. Collaboration opportunities will be scheduled and facilitated between our schools for staff as well. Please note that there are no changes to my line items or new positions requested in the Packagug school budget for the fiscal year 2024. I want to thank you again for your support, and I will turn it over to Brooke Beverly, the Bryn Mawr principal.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Any questions?
You
Sorry.
can have everything you just asked for.
That was wonderful.
Because there was nothing.
Good evening. I just want to take a moment and just thank all of the district administrators for their support through my first budget process here in Auburn. It amazes me how I only started 3 months ago, and I just want to say what a privilege it's been to kind of continue to be a principal here in the hometown that I grew up in. As we look ahead to 2024, I think it's also, it's important to reflect just on the last few months. I'm in awe every single day at the commitment of my staff at reaching every child, the kindness that our students show, and the support that Bryn Mawr families and the community have. This month, we celebrated World Kindness Day at Bryn Mawr School, and all of our students kind of took, sort of that pledge of, being that I in kind. And we created this mural at our school to kind of provide a powerful message to our school community about how kindness is important throughout our school community. At Bryn Mawr School, we believe that every student is one caring adult away from being a success story, and that relationships and connections that we build with students make a positive difference in their lives. Through the staff's collaborative efforts and through our focus with professional development, we have worked to foster caring and trusting relationships with students and families, and identified students that might need to be in a little bit of extra support with some SEL, positive check-ins. The second bullet item that is here, Auburn is very impressive K-2 robust intervention and progress monitoring system that's been in place to kind of identify and support students. This year at Bryn Mawr, we revamped our pre-referral or EST process to incorporate a flow chart to kind of to look at and identify the social emotional interventions and related service needs of our students, sort of like OT, for example, for some students that were presenting with some fine motor needs, in addition to those academic interventions that we have in place. We are very proud of our students and the growth the students have made with some of their progress monitoring data, and we look forward to that continued growth throughout the school year and in 2024. Bryn Mawr School, and the third budget bullet item has to do with our PBIS program. We are up and running with our PBIS program, and we're working to build respectful, responsible, and safe students throughout our school. We have a really positive tone with our students, and they're really working hard to make those right choices throughout our school. Our students love to kind of have that opportunity to earn a waddle, for positive traits, so they can come down and sign our Wall of Fame as they go through. So it's really fun. Dr. Trimlin's laughing at me right now. We'll waddle sometime when you are there to go through. Moving forward to 2024, it's important for us to kind of really focus on those PBIS interventions, moving from those tier 1 interventions, which we're doing sort of for everybody, looking at some students that need some more targeted instructions, and sort of those level tier 2 interventions. As Mrs. Stanek has previously mentioned, the district is committed to providing students with an opportunity to succeed. Our professional development this year focuses on providing staff with a background in UDL principles, providing multiple means of representation and presenting information in different ways, providing multiple means of action and expressing or allowing students I lost my place, allowing students to show their understanding in multiple ways, and providing providing multiple means of engagement to promote, to promote multiple ways for engagement, while also being mindful of any barriers that might be present within a lesson. Collaboration with our Packagug colleagues, our K-2 sister school, and during professional development, through staff meetings or professional learning time, all of this will really kind of benefit our students, in their growth as learners. Now, have you ever had that light bulb moment, in your life, or you've ever seen that light bulb moment from the eyes of a child? Every day at Bryn Mawr School, when students recognize the sounds that letters have, they start to blend together things to form words. When they're able to decode and make meaning from what they are able to read, their smiles and their love for literacy begins. As a district, we are committed to fostering a strong literacy foundation for our beginning readers. We will continue that focus with our instructional practices to align with best practices in literacy instructions with an upgraded Wonders ELA curriculum. At Bryn Mawr School, with the commitment of the school committee, we are lucky to have, one-to-one iPads within the district. I also have a secret love for technology as a past technology integration specialist. I love it. But we really love the opportunity to have the implementation of iReady and for benchmark testing and progress monitoring, and for Lexia with our kindergarten students to kind of continue another way to build those foundational reading skills. In addition, as a school, we believe in providing hands-on engaging opportunities for our students. Providing students with those opportunities to kind of cultivate those problem-solving skills, think critically, and have those teamwork and collaboration skills, especially at a young age, is really, is the underlying focus of, that goal that is here. Now, the last one that we have here is we're going to continue to foster those community partnerships with the Auburn Police Department, the Fire Department, Auburn Youth and Family Services, our town library, community members at our local senior centers. As a new principal in town, I'm continuing to learn from all of the stakeholders here within town, and I look forward to kind of working together to kind of continue to build those relationships for the benefit of Auburn students. As Mrs. Stanek has shared previously, we're continuing to work with our integrated preschool students, to when they come up from preschool into our kindergarten programs, and also with with Dr. Lopez as our students transition from second grade up to third grade over at Swiss. And we're looking forward to kind of also working with families right now. I've heard some feedback from families about the kindergarten registration process and sort of some preparation that we can go through from them. That will be some of our continued focus for this year and for next year. On a personal note, I want to say, one, I just survived this presentation. Two, I want to thank everyone and just sharing just how much I love working at Auburn. At this time, there is no changes to my line items, nor any new positions that we are requesting at Bryn Mawr School. Do you have any questions at this time?
No, but you can have those things.
All righty. Thank you for your commitment to the students of Auburn. I'm now going to turn it over to Dr. Susan Lopez, the principal at Swanson Intermediate School.
I have heard the waddle, waddle, waddle in the morning for morning announcements. It does make my day every time I hear it.
Hi, everyone. Great to see everybody. I think you'll hear a common thread or theme as I start to speak on the 5 kind of key bullet points that we're going to be working on and developing over the course of this year. The first area is around UDL, or Universal Design for Learning, and I'll get a little bit more into that. We've been engaged in the professional development and the teaching and learning over the course of the past year and a half, and we've dabbled in that. And how that looks, or examples of that, our teachers are able to provide students choice in their learning. So something such as a PowerPoint or technology uses versus a comic strip versus acting something out to really show what they know and learn in a way that they can learn and really demonstrate their knowledge. Our specialists have also been incorporating this into their lessons. So that's kind of neat to see. In art, for instance, taking a different look at different media options or paper options. In music, having different instruments to write their compositions or to demonstrate their musical patterns. So it's really embedding all of that knowledge and the skill sets that you've heard from Mrs. Stanek and Mrs. Beverly, and looking at opportunities to give students the choice in their learning so that they have the buy-in and they can demonstrate their learning in a very sound method and way. Another area that we're looking at as a district and as a school is focusing energies on really developing opportunities and platforms for students and staff especially, to discuss diversity and inclusion. We've embarked definitely more proactively and thoughtfully, and there's been a lot of conversations about how we can include all of our students, all of our families in ways that are meaningful and really engaged in the school and learning process. In doing that, we've been thinking about ways to present things out of the box. It's funny, today I was talking to a teacher, and one example, she had gone online. We have mystery readers that come into Swanson, and there was one student, and it was from an EL class, an English language learner, and the parent is limited English. So she bought a book on Amazon that has a line in English and a line in her native tongue so that the child and the parent can have this opportunity and really embrace that. So it's really just looking at bigger and greater engagement in really thoughtful ways to make sure that we can look at every single person and with a dignified and respectful way that really embraces both the similarities and the differences and all that we can bring to the table. This year, we're also looking, as we came into this year, we were looking really enthusiastically as a normal year, but as you've heard from my colleagues and Mr. Walton, we realized we have to look at our tiered supports a little bit differently, not only academically, but the social, emotional, and mental health needs of all of our students, and most importantly, the relationships needing to be built. So some of these are found in the structured schedule that was created this year. We really looked at ways of creating opportunities within the school day that we can have small groups or mentor relationship building, looking at ways that we can develop students' empathy and understanding as well. The concept might be developmentally difficult because students look at themselves under a microscope and think that it's about them or everyone is looking at them. But when you can see or build students' ability to see that they can have a positive impact on someone else and really feel and emote with someone else, that's where the power is and the learning really grows. As adults, we know there's a need for more respect and dignity for one another. And our children, they get it. They get it and they're doing it. I'm thrilled at the fact that we're able to expand our club opportunities. I'm a little jealous of the high school. However, I think we have over 300 students that are participating in various clubs either during the day or after school or before school. Again, we looked at schedules and found snippets of time, but that time has been really used in an engaging and meaningful way, where students in 4th and 5th grade are able to join clubs like a theater club, we have a book group, we have community service clubs, newspaper clubs, all kinds of different, and we just recently had students, they tell me, Dr. Lopez, I'd like to have a meeting. They wanted to develop a cheer club, so now we have a cheer club. A teacher stepped up, I said, no more, you don't have to go to that duty. You're the cheer club leader, so there you have it, another club going on, but they're too much. The students really do have a flair for coming up with some great ideas, and the adults are more than willing to step up and into that, so. Volleyball. Lots of good things. And also, as always, Auburn has a really long tradition in coming into the district now 12 years ago. I was really impressed, and I looked forward to that community service learning project and the community service, and it really has become part of me as a person, me as an educator, and as a leader. And I've learned over my 28 years in education that no matter who you are, no matter what's going on, no matter what the struggle that's going in your own personal life, when you're able to give to others or participate in some kind of a service learning, that's so extremely positive and builds character in a way that no one else can give you. So being able to look at supportive and creative ways to find those service learning projects, and again, looking to our little ones for their ideas. They often have some of the best ideas, and if you just give them some time and listen, they really are great. I think Dr. Chamberlain and Mr. Keller walked in when I had a meeting once again with a few students, and they dressed in suits. It was pretty impressive, and we did do it. They were adorable, but it's business. It is business. So, but it does. Going through these, it really builds that stamina, that perseverance, that endurance that comes with an overarching building of character. Just recently, even in our community, the Elks donated a tremendous amount of money for books for Swanson Road. Our turkey trot, the parent donations raised over $6,000 for our quote sister school in South Africa. It's really been such a tremendous, well-rounded experience for the entire community. So, and I couldn't do it without the support of all of you in the community. Finally, one of the other or last bullets, looking at beginning ways to develop leadership groups and peer mentors at Swanson has been one of the targeted things that we discussed last year and wanted to bring to life. Being a student leader at my level really reinforces, above all that I previously mentioned, that that responsibility and that culture of understanding and citizenship. For the first time in 8 years, we now have back in service our peer patrol leaders. They have bright yellow belts. They are proud to wear them. They wore them all day for 2 weeks. I had to meet with them and tell them they were super proud, but I told them this is really, and it's building that that level of leadership, because kids are kids and they need to be guided and taught how to manage certain situations. But we also have a team leader during one of their lunches. They sit down with me and one of the teachers, and we talk about team building first. We do a fun team building activity, and then they're able to talk about some of the challenges they have. So building that thinking, and again, that empathy and how to deal with social situations that might be challenging, and how to have that discourse in a respectful way. So it's been great to see those leaders, as well as some academic leaders, growing in our building. And even our youngest can be mentors to their peers in a different way. So just looking at different ways to build that leadership and that confidence in all of our little ones. In closing, I'm hoping moving forward as a school community that we continue of course, our goal of educating students beyond the academic, though. I really hope that together we'll build well-rounded, intelligent, strong individuals that have a voice, that feel important, that know they're loved, that know they can make an impact, and that they can impact the larger community. I have one line item that went up slightly. I am going to be having a new program at the school. I anticipate possibly needing some more supplies depending on what the needs of the classroom are. And that also segues into the 2 new positions, which is the intensive special needs teacher and the ABA that Mr. Walton mentioned earlier, because there is a need, and we'll be able to bring all the kids home from 3 to 5 and keep them at Swanson and all their peers. If there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer those.
I can tell you my son's part of the PE club, and his favorite thing in the world is watching his gym teacher on YouTube who plays
Disc golf. He's a professional disc golf player.
Peak of the week.
So fun. They're fun. Who would have thought these little clubs would catch fire? It's a great thing. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. To introduce Mr. Desto up to the microphone.
They told me when I took this job that if you, on the evenings on which Dr. Lopez has her game on, you just don't want to follow her to the podium. Here I am, I've got no chance. I'll do my best. Let's see, okay, so we're on mine. Just, first of all, I said last time, I'm going to say it every time, until such time as the resources get taken away from us. I'm really grateful for the work that you've done, both you and the town of Auburn. We have tremendous resources at our school, both with people and material resources, and I'm really proud of my team, and that wouldn't be possible if it weren't for the school committee. So thank you for that. Love working with these people over here. They all did a great job tonight so far. And just kind of try to let you know a little bit of kind of where my head is at, and I like to think that if that's kind of like we are all kind of thinking this way at the middle school. A lot of the things that I might mention are going to be things you've heard already, but and we did consult a little bit, but it's amazing how much we didn't talk about the things, everything we were going to say, and still it's a lot of the same types of things. As far as my slide and my 5 bullet points, the first and the last bullet point are the universal design for learning emphasis and diversity, equity, and inclusion, which everybody has mentioned, and they're obviously district-wide, and we're all very unified in our emphasis on those. I'd like to focus on the second and the third. Probably if you ask me really what would be my number one concern / emphasis in working with kids between the ages of 11 and 14 right now in this time in history, it's probably more of like who we are as people as opposed to who we are as far as learning English, math, science, social studies. Of course, that stuff's important. But, you know, I do worry a little bit about the society in which they're growing up and the civility, respect, a little bit of erosion of boundaries. I don't mean to sound like my grandfather, but he would have used some better language than me. But what I'm really getting at is the most important thing as I look forward, I think is truly, and I don't mean to use an educational buzzword, it's kind of becoming one, but the relationships between the students and a good adult in the building, and not all of them automatically come with that during the day. So I shared with Dr. Chamberlain and Dr. Keller, I had previously shared with my entire staff a story you may be familiar with called The Two Wes Moores. And there were two kids named Wes Moore, born in the same, roughly the same time frame, same year. They were in the same grade, about a block apart from each other in a really difficult neighborhood in Baltimore. Neither one of them had a father, single-parent household, older siblings that were involved in crime, scored really high on standardized tests in kindergarten and first grade. They had great potential. Long story short, as they grew older, things started to diverge. One of them is serving a life sentence in prison, and the other one was just elected as the first black governor of Maryland. And the fundamental difference, when you read the story, is one significant relationship that the governor had with an adult in his life. And I shared that with my staff, not to say that we're going to create the next governor, but we really could. But that, you know, every kid kind of needs that. And so I'm focusing on that a good bit with the second and the third bullet on my slide, which is to expand our flex block, which essentially in plain English is right now this year, once every 20 days, the students have what we call a flex block, and they go back to their team, their homerooms, and it's a flexible time. We have guest speakers, they pick a topic, and it's like an advisory period, and it's only happening once every 20 days. Next year, we're going to at least double that, so that it would be like once every 10 days. And then the other piece is, and in those times, we can discuss more important topics where they can develop that, have a better chance to develop that relationship with their teachers or with counselors or whoever. And the third one is a mentoring program that we're kind of building. It may actually take flight this year, but probably next year. It's completely voluntary, and we ask staff members to volunteer, and we believe that we'll get a minimum of 30 to volunteer. And it's not a lot of heavy lifting, but it's pairing them up with one kid, at least one kid, who every day, when he or she enters the building, finds his or her mentor, teacher, or me, or whoever, counselor, goes and sees that person and says essentially, like, I'm here today, I had breakfast, I'm ready to go, or vice versa. We can address some issues at that moment if we have to. And then once a week, there's a little bit more lengthy meeting where we discuss progress and things like that. It just becomes a go-to person for that, another go-to person for that kid. So we're really trying to focus on kids having relationships and having positive role models, because I feel like that's the only way that we're going to move forward is that. And I think about my own kid, that's what I would want for him as well. As far as changes to my line items, there are a few. The classroom supplies line went down a little bit, and that's only the result of going through the requests from the department heads and seeing what we might have already had in storage that we might not even known we had. We eliminated a few things there, and then we also have, we know that we're going to be able to get some donations from some corporations and places like that that will be able to fill some of those needs. So the teachers are going to get what they requested, but they may do so in different ways. The audiovisual budget goes up a small amount because we're in, I think, Joe, is it year 8 or 7 for this building now? Do you remember? Okay, so next year will be the 8th year of the middle school, and the Epsom bulbs are burning out, and the amplification systems that the teachers use in the classroom are wearing out or whatever. So there's just things that we have to replace. Guidance supplies went up very little for anti-bullying materials. The athletics, same thing. It's going to be the 8th year. Things are starting to wear out. We have to replace some things. And music supplies went down simply because that's what the teachers requested, and I didn't argue with them.
Good call.
That's pretty much it for us. If there are any questions, I'll do the best that I can. Okay, well, then I'd like to close by, no matter what Dan says, we're more than just our football team. They are really good. But I'm going to once again introduce the Auburn Public Schools' foremost helmet expert, Dan DeLongchamp.
Thank you.
Thanks, Greg.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
It is tough to be last and follow Greg. So, and again, I think, again, there's my voice. I'm going to say some similar things, but I want to begin by saying you're as good as your team. And, I look at this and I listen to everybody talk, and whether it be our leadership meetings or whether it be individual phone calls, there's not one person in this room that hasn't supported, helped, and made us better. And I think about my staff, and I think we have a fantastic staff at the high school who truly care about kids. And I think that's the most important piece right off the bat, because you have to like kids and you have to enjoy going in every day. With that being said, again, the first piece, and a lot of them have talked about UDL. I think what we've learned over the last couple of years, most importantly, is that everybody learns differently. And it might be a little differently, or it might be a lot. In providing choice to students and creating opportunities for kids to learn a little differently in classrooms. While it might be a little uncomfortable at first, what we're finding there's great benefits to it. So again, we're in year 2 of it. I've been into some classrooms and been able to see it firsthand, but we're having more and more conversations about it with the hope of seeing it happen across the board on a really frequent basis. I'm super excited about our work with the ADL and my work with Dr. Chamberlain and Mr. Keller. I've worked with the ADL in the past, in my former life. I think what they provide is an experience and an opportunity for our community to just be better and to make sure that everybody has a voice in our school and feels like they belong. And I think those things, it's hard to learn if you don't have those things first, right? So I'm looking forward to next year when we can get the student groups trained and get them training other students and working with our faculty. It's super exciting to watch. For this, I think students listen to their peers sometimes more than they listen to us, right? So I think that alone will just be fantastic for our community. Our Students for Diversity group already doing some wonderful things, whether they've created some curriculum for our staff in the past, and they can't wait to kind of stretch their legs a little bit and go further. So that's super exciting. Internship programs, I mean, we're getting kids ready to be the most successful versions of themselves. We care about the 18-year-old version or the 14-year-old version, but I want them to be the best 25-year-old someday. And that's taking all their skills and figuring out some kind of capstone way. And where we've seen it and to a small degree, the programming that Dr. Chamberlain's, the grants that she's been able to provide us for the educator programs with the state. So we've been able to send off larger groups send them off, but they're able to go off into all of the schools to go work. And these are future potential educators. And if they're not, they're kids that are thinking about that might be the path for them. So they get a chance to test it out, because there was one boy that came to see me and said, "Wow, I thought I wanted to be working in an elementary school, but I definitely don't want to do that anymore." That might have been me at one time, okay, for sure. I've been able to work and partner with the Auburn Chamber of Commerce. We meet with them regularly, but at the same time, they've had me at some of their meetings. It's just kind of trying to find creative ways within our schedule to get as many kids out. And that continues to be a goal for us. So my hope is that we're able to do more of that, because I think our students, if they're able to get a chance to see what the real world is like a little bit, that might help guide some of the decisions they make. Enhancing our special needs programs. I know Mr. Walton talked a little bit about this. I've had countless conversations with Mr. Walton in regards to just trying to identify and figure out what will work best for our kids. So, not everybody learns the same way. Some kids want to go right to the workforce, but teaching them how to interview properly, even having a face-to-face conversation, that's the first start. You don't even have to talk about the interview, just getting them to look at you and not at their thumbs, right? And then, how to dress. And just some basic questions, because if they can't do that, they can't be successful in their job. But that's also tying in school is set up where you start the day at a certain time and you end the day. Well, that's just like a shift at work, right? And so trying to tie some of the things that we're doing at school and making them make sense to kids. So we're always looking and trying to enhance that programming for our kids. I think, and I know we've heard it several times, One thing that's been a dramatic change is just our acknowledgement of mental health. The last few years have just been really, really challenging. Our support teams are working overtime trying to figure out creative ways to support as many kids as they possibly can. We work with interns. Our counseling team has high caseloads. And what we're trying to do is, like what Mr. Desto talked about, we have a activity block. And within our activity block, we're trying to develop community time. So this first year is more like relationship building, where they're getting to know a common teacher who they meet with once a week, okay? And once a week, or maybe even twice a month, where it'll be the same person over the course of their 4 years. So we're starting with that relationship building, and our hope is that we can do some more social, emotional based work in the room. I'm not expecting my teachers to be counselors, but just to be there and just be another connection piece for our kids. Last, student leadership. I think getting a student to understand their influence in our buildings, and that every student has some kind of influence, whether it be a group of 1 or 2 or maybe a group of 25, and their impact within that group is super important. And it also is helpful to us because it gives us a sense of like how the kids are feeling within our building. Are there things that, it might be simple surveys, it might be some guest speakers, but getting kids to understand that leadership isn't just wearing a captain's band or being a president of a class. You don't need to have those titles to be a leader within a classroom, to be a leader at home, to be a leader at a job. So trying to get kids to understand that. Lastly, and I'm not somebody that's competitive, Susan, at all. But, but we have this year we've been able to see roughly almost, I mentioned the athlete piece, but we probably have about 450 students, including sports, that are participating in sports, fine arts, and in our clubs and activities within our building. So, and I'm going to tell you that it's almost like weekly, I get people asking me whether or not, hey, can we start this club or do this? And I can't trade them off the duties. I wish I could. That's my bullet points. As far as that, we have no change to line items, and there's no new positions at the high school. So, would you guys happen to have any questions?
About a volleyball coach.
Sorry, I have to.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Stan. Okay, so we're at the end of our presentation, and before I kind of give my final thoughts, I just want to thank the whole leadership team for, you told a really great story about our district and about our schools tonight, and about our commitment to kids and to relationships and to one another, and I just want to say thank you, because I really appreciate that. I'm sitting there kind of like the proud mom, so thank you very much for all you do. So tonight, we are presenting to you a draft of $30,195,620.97. This reflects an increase of $1,222,550 over the FY23 amended budget of $28,973,070. When it says amended budget, we're calling it an amended budget because of the $102,000 that was added by the town at the fall town meeting. This increase results in a 4.22% increase over the FY23 amended budget. If you can go to that next slide. So again, right, we only included required new positions and materials. We've met all of our contractual salary obligations. The increases for all the utilities are included. We have tirelessly, thanks to Mrs. Worsbicky, looked at available offsets to kind of use those in the ways most powerful in decreasing the increase to the budget. That goes along with the grant funding as well, to make sure that our grant funds were used responsibly. It will continue to change based on the availability of state funding numbers, such as Chapter 70. That's an unknown that we won't know for another probably several months. Oh, maybe January? Okay, so, and even then it changes after that. So more to come with this as a draft, but we will come back to this budget on your next meeting on January 4th, where you will vote to either move it forward or to make some changes or recommendations to such. So If I go to the last slide, I just again want to say thank you to the Auburn community. That includes the town, everyone in the school community, and certainly the school committee. I think it's clear tonight that we are committed to reaching every student. And that's where we need to sit and live for as long as I'm certainly going to sit as superintendent. We're committed to every single child and their needs, whether it's a learning need, a social emotional need, a mental health need, whatever it is. We are so respectful and thankful for the ongoing support we get from all of you. We thank you for your ongoing guidance. And if you have any final questions, I will leave you with the quote from Nelson Mandela that tells us that history will judge us by the difference we make in the everyday lives of children. And I, for one, am very proud to be part of a community that I think lives that statement. So I welcome any further questions you might have regarding anything tonight.
Any questions from the committee?
Not at this time.
Awesome.
Excellent job as usual. No better district than Auburn. I think every year I just love hearing about all the wonderful things we do in all the schools. So thank you. Thank you for coming out.
Yeah.
I know it's a
Thank
late
you, guys.
night.
Thanks,
Thank
everyone.
you so much.
So for those of you on the leadership team, you are free to go if you'd
Run.
like.
Run.
Except for you, Mr. Desto. All right. We are, and we're still going. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
No, I was in a little panic about that.
Have a good night.
Flipping off.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Good
Thank
night.
you. Have a good night. Drive
Have a good night.
carefully.
Bye.
I'm going home to no power.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. Yeah. Yeah, there's a car up there. Thanks, Joe. All right.
All right, on to new business.
On to new business. So I am going to let Mr. Desto come up in case you have any questions, but we have a request to the committee to dispose of some obsolete materials. This comes from Auburn Middle School with the textbooks that are listed in your agenda. So I don't know if you have anything to add to that, Mr. Desto?
Not really, other than to say that with the school committee's approval tonight to dispose of these obsolete materials, we'll send out a message to a listserv that hits, virtually every district in the area to see if that they would like to have if we can donate these to a needy, a program that could use them before we recycle them. So we're going to try to see if we can get make a good use of them. But they're not materials that we're going to be using any longer at our school, so we're looking to hopefully be able to share them with others and make the space in our building.
And I think they've been there for some time. Is that correct, Mr. Desto?
With the exception of the 482 Big Ideas math books and the 23 French books, they were there before me. So that's at least 5 years ago.
Yowza.
I'll entertain a motion.
You go.
I'll make a motion to approve the Auburn Middle to seek a suitable program to donate the listed obsolete books or to dispose of them.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
It is a vote.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Mr. Desto.
Thank you.
You're off the hook.
All right.
Now you can run.
Yeah.
And the next thing is, I think Dr. Lopez spoke to this briefly, but we did receive a donation from the Elks Lodge. They donated $4,400 worth of books for Swanson Road Intermediate School. It's a gift of literature, very well appreciated, to be enjoyed by students and staff for years to come. So I look to the committee to accept the donation.
I'll entertain that motion.
I'll make a motion to accept with gratitude the donation of $4,400 worth of books gifted to the Swanson Road Intermediate School.
And I'll second.
Any discussion?
Nope.
Awesome, thank you so much. All in favor?
Aye.
There's a vote.
Another wonderful Auburn organization.
They're fabulous.
Appreciate that.
And sneak peek, but there's more to come from the Elks, so you'll be hearing about that at the next one, so
We
yes.
like sneak peeks.
They've been wonderful. The next thing you'll find included in your packet are 3 policies. I will say, I think I've been a little remiss as superintendent in reviewing policies. This should be almost something we find on every agenda as we go through that policy booklet. So I have included 3 that tie to some of the work we've done recently. No major changes, some minor wording changes. The changes come from MASC, the Massachusetts Association of School Committees, where they can often provide to us updated versions of policies already in place. So this will be a first reading, so you have those to review. We'll come back to them at the next meeting as a second reading and vote at the third meeting. Again, on non-discrimination policy, equal employment policy, and equal education policy.
And the red is what we are,
That's the change.
that's changes, okay.
Yes, yep.
No teaching and learning report tonight?
Oh, ma'am, not tonight.
Favorite time of the night? Business and financials?
And I'm making it short tonight. I have provided in your packet a year-to-date budget report dated November 17th for your review. And I also have a listing of budget transfers dated November 17th between the same series for your information and just seeking your approval. And it's a very short list this time.
I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the list of transfers, dated November 17th, 2022, as presented by the business manager.
I'll second that motion.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, it is a vote.
Thank you for your support. For all your signatures on our many warrants that we had there tonight.
A lot of them.
We did have a lot. And
good
you've
thing I
also
only-
been very great about coming in at times to sign for us, when we're not having a meeting. I'm thankful for that as well, so thank you.
Of course, anytime.
Just call.
And we do need an executive session?
We do not. I had thought we may, so we put it on there to be safe, but we do not need that this evening.
Take a vote to adjourn?
We need to make a motion.
Yeah. A motion?
I'll make a motion to
Yeah,
adjourn.
sorry.
I'll second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.